Week 8 of the fantasy basketball season, and here's a few forwards falling down the rankings this week. The first guy is Raquan Holmes of the Sacramento Kings. So Holmes, he's been pretty good this season in fantasy basketball, ranked 35th overall on the season, 13 points a game, 8 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 1.7 blocks a game, 78% from the foul line, 65% from the field. But in the last couple weeks now, his rankings gone down to 103. Is Raquan Holmes. And Holmes, I didn't expect him to keep up this type of progression and stats the whole season here. So Holmes in the last few weeks here, 10 points a game, 7.6 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 2 blocks, 70% from the foul line, and 58% from the field. So that's still pretty decent percentages and numbers for Holmes, but he was putting up bigger games early in the season, 20, 25-point games. And the last couple games, it's been decent stats, but nothing special. February 3rd versus Boston, 7.6 rebounds, a block, 37% from the field. February 6th versus Denver, 21 and 10 rebounds, 69% from the field. February 7th at the Clippers, 12 points, 10 boards, 2 assists, 2 blocks. And then February 9th versus Philly, 10 points, 5 rebounds, an assist and a block. So his numbers have been up and down. He's a player that could have a big game or a bad game. And Holmes right now, he's definitely falling down the rankings. After early in the season, he was a top 20 player. But now it's fallen into place a little. And teams are paying more attention on stopping Holmes. So he's falling down the rankings a little here in the last few weeks. The next player falling down the rankings at the forward position is Michael Porter Jr. And I've spoke about him a lot in the last few weeks since he returned from the COVID list was Michael Porter. And Porter on the season, he's ranked 114 with 15 points a game, 6.4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1.1 steals, 1.1 blocks, 2.4 threes a game, 80% from the foul line, 51% from the field. But the last few weeks, he's really dropping down the rankings right now, is Porter Jr. Only 10 points a game he's averaging, 5.3 rebounds, 0.7 assists, 1.3 blocks, 1.7 threes, 75% from the foul line, and only 42% from the field. So his shooting percentage is way down over the last few weeks. His scoring's down 4 or 5 points. And I thought Porter Jr. would be a breakout player this season in fantasy basketball. But this COVID issue that made him miss 3 weeks of the season definitely made a big impact on Porter. And Porter, he just hasn't gotten things going really. February 6th at Sacramento, a mediocre game. 8 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks, 27% from the field. Then February 8th versus Milwaukee, 8 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, 33%. And then February 10th versus Cleveland, he finally had a good game though. 19 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and he hit 4 threes. So we'll see tonight if Porter could have another good game here versus the OKC Thunder. But Porter, he's been struggling, and he's definitely falling down the rankings. So hopefully he could get back on track here. The next forward falling down the rankings is Larry Nance Jr. of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Nance Jr., he's been a decent ball player this season, but now he's injured with a broken finger, and he's going to miss 6 weeks. So right now, he's a player that's still obviously going to fall down the rankings. And before he even got injured, he was struggling with Nance Jr. He's number 72nd ranked on the season. Gives you a little bit of everything in a different couple categories. 9.3 points a game, 6.8 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 2 steals a game, 1.3 threes a game, 57% from the foul line, and 48% from the field was Nance Jr. But the last few weeks that he did play, he averaged 3 points a game, 9.7 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and an awful 26% from the field. So Nance, he's going to miss 6 weeks. That'll take us to about week 14 or 15 already of the fantasy basketball season. And it's a big hit for the Cleveland Cavaliers and fantasy owners now who are going to be without Nance. He was giving everyone decent stats, like I said, in every category. He wasn't a huge scorer, wasn't a huge rebounder, but he was pretty consistent at giving you some stats, was Nance. But now he's been dropped already in 14% of fantasy leagues. And he's a guy definitely falling down the rankings because of the injury. The next forward falling down the rankings is Duncan Robinson of the Miami Heat. Duncan Robinson, last season, it was a great year for him, but this year, he just doesn't have the same amount of pop, really, is Robinson. On the season, he's ranked 166, 12.7 points a game, 3.7 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.6 turnovers, 3.3 threes a game, 85% from the foul line, and a bad 41% from the field. In the last few weeks, the stats haven't been any better for him. In the last couple weeks, he's ranked 261 overall, with 10.9 points a game, 2.9 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 3.1 threes a game, 75% from the foul line, and 41% from the field. So right now, the numbers are down. He's not shooting good, is Duncan Robinson. He's a three-point ball or nothing. There's a crazy stat or something that he's shooting 90% of his shot attempts are three-point shots for Robinson. And right now, he's not really hitting. The last couple games you could see as well. February 5th versus Washington, 6 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 threes, 22% from the field. February 7th at the Knicks, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. He did hit 4 threes, but 40% from the field. Then versus the Knicks once again, February 9th, 4 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 0% from the field, 0 for 7 shooting. And then versus Houston last night, it was good to see him get on track a little bit. 15 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and it was all 3-pointers made for him to get that 15 points with 5 of them and 45% from the field. So Robinson, he's in a shooting slump. He only attempts 3-pointers pretty much, and that's not a good thing here. This guy, he don't really drive to the hoop. His free throw percentage is down about 10% this season, and he's really struggled. I don't know if it's a quick turnaround to the season for the Heat from the finals or what, but he just hasn't gotten anything going. And he's definitely falling down the rankings here. And the fifth and final forward falling down the rankings this week is Davis Bertans of the Washington Wizards. Bertans, he's almost at the point where he could be a droppable forward and center that he qualifies at in fantasy leagues. And on the season, he's ranked 226 as Bertans, 10.3 points a game, 2.7 rebounds, 2.5 threes a game, 80% from the foul line, and a woeful 34% from the field. In the last few weeks, it's even got worse for Bertans. 26% from the field, 2.4 threes a game, 8 points a game, 2.3 rebounds. So he's not doing much as Bertans. He's only scoring anywhere from 6 to 9 points a game. And he's another guy like Duncan Robinson. It's a 3-ball or nothing. His field goal percentage has been horrid all season. And in the last 3 games, the highest he shot from the field was 36% versus the Chicago Bulls on February 8th, where he had 12 points, 4 3-pointers made, so that was all his points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals. So Bertans, he's already getting dropped in most leagues. He's owned in 55% of fantasy leagues, but another bad string of games in a row, he's definitely going to be droppable, and he's falling down the rankings. So that's a few forwards falling down the rankings here in Week 8 of the fantasy basketball season.